Welcome to Krizcast, Noman Life. Welcome to Krizcast, Noman Life.
Did you know that you cannot get a DIE or open a bank account in Spain without an Empadron certificate? Are you new to Spain? This one paper decides your legal life here. Are you a student or a professional? This document is much more important than your visa. Empadronamiento is the official proof that you live in Spain at a specific address. So let's dive in detail to understand what is Empadron and why it's needed. If you're a professional, how it works. If you're a student, how this works. And how do you apply? What documents are needed and where to apply? Let's jump in detail and understand in this specific video. Let's go. So, empadronamiento. Empadrón, some people would say, or they would cut short that to padrón. If you're learning Spanish, I tell you what, perdón means excuse me. Padrón is your empadronamiento certificate. That's okay. Thank you. So, empadronamiento, how it works and what all is needed to get an empadrón, what documents are needed, how do you apply, all that information, we're gonna check this out in this little presentation. All right, so we start with what is an empadrón? Empadrón is basically a certificate, just a piece of paper that actually shows you are living in Spain, that you moved from one country to another country. You need a registration, you need a proof that you're actually living here and you're not just wandering illegally. So this is a very fundamental document, quite fundamental for you to prove that, okay, I got a place to live and this is the address I have. So Empadron is going to be asked in every other document, and who's giving to you is your local municipal office. In Spanish, that is called ayuntamiento. So it's a proof that you're actually living here. So who needs? Everybody needs. You need, I need, my friends need. If you're a working professional or you're a student or you're from a different country in the EU, or you're living in, you're coming from a non-EU country, everybody needs it. And why is it important? For professionals, you need it for your DIE card. You need it for your social security because you're going to pay tax. And your bank accounts. You walk up to a bank and say, "Hello, sir, I'm here to get a bank account." The bank person would be, "Hola, dame tu empadronamiento." Means, give me your empadron certificate. And you're going to be like, "What?" That's when you pull out, "Yeah, I've got my padron certificate here." So everybody's going to ask you for your empadron certificate. And if you need a public health card or health care, you definitely need one. So empadron is going to be asked for every single situation. Here there is an exception for driving license. Most of the time when you go for driving license exchange, not the first time apply. So the first time application is different. For exchange, let's say you come from India or you come from South Africa, you come here and you say, I want to use my own driving license for my country, so give me an international exchange. They say, okay, we can do that. Show me your empadron. So then you present your empadron and then you do the process. That is also another important document. So for students, of course, students are not going to be paying tax. They're here to study, and students usually they also do a lot of university procedures. You need a internship. You're going to do some internship at certain college or some office. You're going to need a empadron. That's like the basic one. They are going to ask you if you're applying for a student DIE card. Of course, they're going to ask you for empadron. Yeah. So next comes how this process works. Yeah. Let's see how the whole process works. First and the most important thing is when you get a house, maybe you find it yourself through Idealista. Good job. Or if you've gone through some agents, real estate agents, they would definitely give you a house contract, a legal house contract where you've signed and your landlord has signed. So that document is needed. That's the primary one. Then your ID card, that's your passport. And then you open your computer and then you look for your specific website for the ayuntamiento, the municipality. Let's say you're from Usera. That's the very first municipal area where I lived, Usera. That's where all the Chinese people live. So Usera, you just go Google and type Madrid Usera Ayuntamiento, and then a beautiful link pops up, blue color page opens up, and then you just look for the time slots available, book a cita, and then put your passport number. Then comes the a código, like a code. Then you save that or take a printout, or if you want to save papers, take a screenshot, save it. That's all you need. And then your cita is ready. It's usually about 8 to 10 days. In worst case, it can go up to 15 to 20 days. They really need a cita. You can't just walk up to the municipal office and say, I need my empadrón. So you need a cita, which is appointment in Spanish. So this is the process on how to empadrón works. And documents, as I just mentioned, it's your passport and your rental card, rental contract, and utility. Yeah, this is a good point. In worst cases, some people, some government officials would ask you, show me your utility bills. That is your gas bill. Show me your electricity bill or your water bill. And that should have your name. But you just moved. It's not even a week, and how can I get a bill? That's okay. You can tell them you just moved, and they will be happy to go ahead with the process. In specific cases, I have seen that okay, you've moved here. You might have deposited certain amount to your landlord. Show me the transaction. Then you pull your smartphone and show the transaction, the bank transaction that you've done from your account to your landlord account. And then you see this is the number. I made the transaction. And that's the exact number that I have, the bank account number that I have in the contract. So I am living here and this works. And they do agree that. So one more important thing, you have to mention concept though in all transaction, the description should be clearly mentioned that this is the deposit or this is the monthly rental price that I'm paying for the house. All these details beautifully documented, you're good to go. So since you have the appointment, you take a printout and where to apply, we already saw. You can look for your city wherever you're living in that specific district. You just go ahead and look for that in Google and you would find the link popping up. In case if you cannot, walk up to the ayuntamiento. You can simply walk up in the morning at 9 o'clock, 9:30 and ask them, sir, I'm looking for an appointment. They give you a slip and they would give you the link of where it can be found. Or they also say, they'll also give you an application form. This is important. They also give you a small little slip where you need to fill your address, your passport number, and all those details. It's a nice form. It takes 5 minutes to fill it, and you put your passport and your signature, you're good. Now, also, I wanted to share how they give it. People might wonder how long I have to wait for the certificate. It's just like that. It's beautiful. You say that I'm ready, you give them, and then they would be looking at the computer and click, 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 and then the printer works. You get the certificate and you're happy. You go home, have a nice sleep. So it's quite straightforward. It only takes 5 to 10 minutes. The whole process, the documentation collecting, it all takes some time, but the actual process of getting the certificate from the office is quite straightforward. Now let's come to some of the myths. People think it's only for long-term residents, not for me. I just came for a year. I'm just studying for 6 months. I'm going to go back. No, it's important for everybody who lives in Spain. And sometimes people would think it would affect my taxes. No, that's not going to affect your taxes. Or your landlord would get in trouble. Of course not. These are some of the myths. Some final tips. update your Empadron as soon as you move to our beautiful Spain, and keep the copies of certificates. You get a original one from the municipal office. I would highly recommend that you take a screenshot or save it in some Google Drive where you can just download at any time, any point, and try to avoid delays. You know, do it as soon as you can. And thank you. Empadron is the first step of your life in Spain. Thank you for watching. Follow for more tips. Bye.
Welcome to Krizcast Nomad Life. Welcome to Krizcast Nomad Life.